It's raining cash right now. But you know what? Not everybody wants to do what it takes to capture the cash. And they capture the cash, and then they're like, well, what do I do with it? Because I got some sales, I got some marketing, but like, how do I invest it? Where do I put it?
Welcome to the Lion's Den, hosted by Lance Bachman.
Everyone, welcome to the Den. This week's edition, we have Mike Aguilera and he's the founder of CEO Warrior, has grown that business. He sold another business that was for millions and millions. He's been on tons of different shows talking about finances, money, how to build businesses, and literally he's written now, I think, 17 books, if I'm correct. Mike, Welcome to the Den. I appreciate you being here. You're a big name in the service-based industry, so thank you. I appreciate it. Mike, why don't you introduce yourself real fast to the viewers and tell them who you are?
Yeah, Mike Aguilera. First off, this is an honor to be here, and it's an honor to be in front of you. You're doing amazing things in the industry, so thank you for serving the industry.
Thank you so much.
Mike Aguilera. I live in New Jersey. I always say if you want to know what my big accomplishment is, I'm with my beautiful wife since I'm 15 years old. That's 35 years. I'll be level 51 this year, so any of you, never say your age. You're always level. You're getting more powerful as you get more mature and get stronger out there. And yeah, I built one company, a service company, took it from under $1 million to $32 million in less than 10 years. That's fun to do, but what was really important is I had 200 of the best team members, employees on the planet. We ran 165 trucks all over the state of New Jersey. We were double-digit profit, and we got acquired by a PE firm, which was nice. I didn't exit because I didn't love it. I just exited because I was doing other stuff. And that took me into a new venture. About 7 years ago, we started CEO Warrior with the number one focus, Lance, was to change the industry. Hands down, change it.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. You grew gold medal. You sold it. Kudos to you. Most people never do that in a lifetime. Then you opened another company now, CEO Warrior. Yeah. That's been growing. It's been on fire. Yeah. And you believe, like I believe, the service-based industry is one of the best industries to be in overall, right? So we're going to talk about that. There's also a lot of shortcomings still in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about that. But I've always said this to people. Wake up. I don't know why people listen to people that don't make money, about money. Yeah. I'm not being rude here. When I have the idiot on the soccer field telling me about do this, and he doesn't have money, and not being rude, that money means all. Why you listen to him? Private equity firms are jumping in left and right. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how much money you can make, because everybody says go to college, go to college, go to college. Mm-hmm. I actually disagree with that. I think you might a little bit. I'm not sure what your views on that. You might punch the table.
I never went to college. I did everything graduating vocational school.
All right, so let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So you get acquired, you start CEO Warrior. Tell us what CEO Warrior actually does for our viewers and how you help service-based companies.
Yeah, when I go back, and let me share something real quick before we dig into that. So everybody listening here knows I'm an electrician by trade. So I'm blue collar through and through. I mean, I've climbed in attics, I've dug ditches, I've crawled through more crawl spaces. I can almost tell you the species of the cat by the cat shit in the litter box. Like, you know what I mean? So anybody who's listening here, I know what you do if you're in the service industry, and there's nobody that respects you more than us and CEO Warrior. The second thing, Lance, is it's funny about the money thing, right? Somebody told me one time, they said, Mike, money's not everything. And I said to him, very well said from a broke-ass individual. Money's not everything, but it changes and helps a lot of people. When I was growing gold medal, and for everybody listening, I was not born doing it right. I did it wrong for 10 to 12 years. Like, I was in a van, I struggled. My partner wanted to quit, and then we made a decision to grow and change. And through that journey, we figured out. And what happened was probably about now 7 years ago, I'm running gold medal. It's growing like mad. It's become easy to do it. And I would get around my friends, and I'm sure like you're around your friend, you're excited, you're like, let's do this, right? And I'm like, how's business? And they're like, Mike, there's no guys. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, it's hard. And I'm like, okay. So I find myself dimming my flame, feeling bad for them, feeling bad for myself, and I'm successful. And that made me turn around. I went to my business partner, Rob Zadati. We've been business partners for forever. And I said, okay, we grew the service company. Someone's got to step out there and tell the people the real deal, the way they need to hear it, not showing up in a suit and tie. They need to see the tattoos come out, and they need someone to say, it's time to step up. And that's why I started CEO Warrior, which pretty much is you're either average or a warrior. Nobody listening to here, Lance, woke up one morning and said, you know what, today I hope my service company and me is average.
No.
Nobody says that. They want to be a warrior. And I'm challenging all of you to listen to step up. Because you know what? Let me share this and I'll hand it back over to you. People say to me, I say, what's the most important thing to you in life? And everybody says what? Family. And I say, okay, mine too. I say, okay, family, what would you do for your family? I would die for my family. Then I said, why don't you grow your service company for your family? Why don't you do that for them?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I just had one employee in here yesterday talking to me, and I got to know this young gentleman, and he's renting, and he has a little baby, right? And I said, buy your house. He said, well, everyone's telling me, don't buy. I'm like, buy. In 30 years, that house is paid off, and you're going to be 60, he's 30 years old.
Right.
And you're going to die. That's a fact. We're going to die here sooner or later. You can leave that to your child to change their lives.
Right.
And he's like, yeah. I'm like, when you rent, you're going to spend your money. That's going to happen. I tell people all the time.
Yeah.
There's savers, right? I save X amount. I save 15% no matter what I make a month. From any organization I own, it goes away, right? It's always my and it's worked out well for me. I always save 15%. Not everyone does that. So at least if you have an asset or two, you can leave it behind. And same thing with all these companies. You can leave it to your children. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I agree 110% on that. Here's a question for you. The average service-based business in the country is less than $1 million. We both know that, right?
Yeah.
I own 4 different companies, all do north of $10 million, right?
Yeah.
You own companies, they all do north of $10 million.
Yeah.
Why do you think that these companies just don't get it? Do you think they don't want it? Do you think they don't know?
No.
I mean, I'm curious. I'm curious to why, because the service-based industry is the most in-demand business. If you ain't busy right now, there's something wrong with you.
That's right. Last year, during the pandemic, there was, let's just say, some companies that service, not what we do, but service the digital space, not you guys, someone else. And they said last year, the industry as a whole was down 27%. I looked around and my clients, they're up 100, 300. We had clients up 600%. Let me take you back in time. I've been on my own a really long time, and I have my own struggles. Like, I've heard your story, and it's such a great story, since I'm 15 years old. When I struggled in a service company, and then I started to become successful, I started to study what happened, what kept me, what keeps everybody locked in. It was my thinking. But wait a second, everybody's like, oh, it's thinking, it's mindset, it's be positive. I met a lot of people, very positive idiots. I have. Positive assholes. I have. And if anybody doesn't like that language, please pray for me later. I'm good for that. Or just go past these words, because I don't want to be an act for you. I want to give you my true self. Here's what I learned. People are following the paradigms from their past. That's it. So my dad used to tell me money doesn't grow on trees. Until I was doing maybe 20 million, Lance. I went to my dad and I said, Dad, you were wrong. Money does grow on trees. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, if I had apple trees, orange trees, I could pick those and sell them for money. He goes, you know what? I just taught you what my dad taught me and his dad. So wait a second. So there's a history of influence that has been bred into, let's call it blue collar worker, which I got to tell you, I'm going on a new mission to change this. There's no blue collar, there's white collar. That sounds like just putting buckets on people.
If you like this content and you're trying to grow your business, follow me at Lance Bachman and Lance Bachman Digital on Facebook. LFG, time to grow.
Why don't we just call it business wealth builders, right? And if you think about this, all the other, you have to work hard to make money. You have to do this. And it all goes back to your thinking. It's not mindset, it's mind growth. And people have to be ready to allow their mind to grow. And the only way you could do that, the only way I learned is some people, you got to step in and have somebody, you have to be in an environment like this where we could go into your soul, grab the weak thoughts, weak programming, pull it out of your soul, and then put a brand new one in there for you. If you don't do that, they'll struggle.
This is the problem. I think people don't want to change, right? You get used to making $100,000 a year, you think that's great money. You get used to making 200, that's great money. You get used to making $1 million, you think that's great money. You get used to making 3 million, everything's relative. And I say to people all the time and there's a movie I love, and it's called Knight's Tale. It's one of my favorite movies. I heard the best line ever. He changed his stars in one family generation. Yeah. And most people never do. And he becomes a sir. They call him a sir. He becomes a knight, right? He becomes a knight. He becomes a knight. Sir William, his name is. He becomes a knight, right? The gentleman that played Batman died in it. Real good actor. Heath Ledger, whatever his name is. But the point is his dad was poor, broke, this and that. Yeah. Your parents always want what's better. But your parents seldomly will install, they say they do, the confidence to take risk. The confidence to say it's okay to fail. It's okay to lose. We live in a world now where people are so afraid of losing and saying, okay, fuck it, I lost today, I'm back tomorrow. Yeah. Like, we lose, you've lost, we've all lost. We all know what a P&L. We know it's like that debt on a P&L saying, how am I going to get out of this debt at one point in our career if you build a big company, right? So I think people's parenting, like you said, don't let people, I talk to my children all the time. I don't say you can be whatever you want to be. I say you're going to be a business person. You're going to build on what I'm building. You're going to build on what I'm building. You're going to be a leader. I've never once said to my kids, you're going to be a fucking D1 athlete. Yeah. Never, ever. Well, it's that's even on the table for me.
Yeah, Lance,
I don't care.
The comparison effect is the most dangerous thing. I wish, and look, I'm not a perfect parent by no means. I've done the very best, and based on my children watching me, my daughter's 19 years old. She's been running her own yoga company since she's 17. She's been doing virtual training for corporate accounts. My son is going to be 22 in a couple weeks, was born 5 weeks early on my birthday. He's a martial arts and combat expert, been running his own business 4 years, author of a book 3 years ago, because they model that. The comparison affect's the most dangerous thing. You know why? You go on social media, and I think about it today, like you give your kid, and I hope I'm not messing up any parents here, you give your daughter this Barbie doll. She's perfect. She's got a perfect hips, perfect breast, perfect body. Now your daughter's comparison is if I don't look like this, I'm bad. People go on social media and they're like, look at this guy. They're doing this in this company. You know what? There's only one thing to compare to. Look in the mirror, compare yourself to who you were yesterday and who you want to be today. That will change the game for everybody. The second thing is the $1 million stuck, right? Why are these people stuck? I don't believe they don't want more. I think they want more. They want more money. They want more success. They're surrounded around people that don't know any different, right? And society today, I just went on a little rant this morning about this. They're creating humans with no purpose, and they don't think there's a possibility. Like, look at what we do today. We go out, and I love that people feed families. They give food. That's great. You fed them a meal. The meal's done. The meal goes away. Why don't we feed them with a knowledge to start their own little business or start their own thing so they can feed themselves forever? We don't. We're part of a problem, and we have to be part of the solution. Same as the blue-collar worker. He has to be part of his own solution. He has to want to improve for his family.
I used the word want, so I'm going to tell you something. So someone said to me, I'm not going to say his name because I'm still friends with him today. He actually works for me in another company. He came here, and he said, Lance, I want to be you. I want to make money. I want to make money. He had a troubled past like me, but he was good for the last 12 years. So I said, fuck it. Let it rip. I'm going to give this guy a shot. Yeah. I said, be at my house at 4 a.m. tomorrow. He said, what? I said, be at my house at 4 a.m. tomorrow. I'm not going to say his name here. Came to my house 4 a.m. this morning. I said, you're going to be with me day and night. I'm going to show you what it truly does. This is only 6 months ago, right? So think about this, right? 6 months ago. 4 a.m., he meets me. I work all day. I take my kids to practice. I go back to work. He leaves my house about 10:30 at night, right? I said, see you here tomorrow at 4 a.m. He's back there. He's energized. What do you think he said to me at the end of day 2?
What'd he say?
He said, I don't want this. He goes, I don't want to be you. He goes, because he saw what a real life, everyone sees, they talking about social media, the Facebook post of you in the pool, having a drink, me being away, I'm going to Miami, right? Having that, doing this. They see that and they think it's such instant gratification because of social media. Yeah. They don't see the grind, the sleepless nights, the up, calling Joe Lynn saying, what are we going to do here? Calling CJ, calling it, like, they don't understand it. I mean, do you think that's probably the biggest problem? Because once they get into it, they're like, I just don't want this?
I think that's part of it. I loved So the first part is this life-business balance paradigm. There is no life-business balance. Business doesn't exist without a life. There's just life. And how you look at every aspect of your life is how you're going to move forward with things. When I look at business, I mean, shit, we crashed into the same bridge in a couple years. The same bridge, 9 times, 9 different trucks. People listen are like, can't be. I'm telling you, I could, but we had to put stickers on the trucks. I said, okay, wait a second. Should this bother me? Should this put? Now, yes, I pissed. I'm sure I cursed a little bit. But in the end, I was in the game. And you know why I was in the game? See, it wasn't in the game for me. Guys like us, once we figure it out, it's easy. Mm-hmm. I was in the game because I was fighting for the livelihood of my team, my employees. I was fighting for the livelihood every day, leading by example. They would do a good job. Look, we did plumbing, heating, cooling, electric. We did everything. They did a good job. What I wanted them to be, I wanted to help them become superhuman. So when they went home, they were a superhuman dad or mom. They were the best mom and dad, the best friend. If I did that, everything else was super easy. But back to why people are struggling is they're not around enough people. You know the book Think and Grow Rich?
Absolutely. Great
One
book.
of the most read books on the planet.
Yep.
Why is not everybody rich if they all read the book?
Well, first of all, there's a difference between reading a book and actually going and doing shit. I tell people it all the time. People tell me they read 3 books a week. I start laughing. I don't read 3 books a week. I don't have time. Right. I read digital marketing. I read business stuff. Truthfully, I don't follow politics no more. I don't get involved in it. So, like, it's great that you can go read a book, good to great, freakonomics. I can name you every book. I can tell you, I did it.
Right.
I did. I went to college. I'm going to tell you something about reading books in college. So I had this little professor when I went to get my executive MBA. And he never worked a day out in the real world. And here I am building yellowpages.com, busting my ass 15 hours a day. Yep. And you got to make assumptions when you're building a business. There are no trends to go off of. There's no historical data when you're building a brand new digital product and rolling it out. You have to make assumptions, right?
Yeah.
When you make assumptions, it's called ass for a reason. You're going to look like a jackass or you're going to look great and get a lot of ass, right? I mean, it's one or the other, right? So I said to him, have you ever been out in the real world and done business? He's like, no. I said, well, you're over here mocking individuals and talking down to us. I said, I built this company from 0 out of a hotel conference room to we're going to do 121 million at the time, based on everything against what you're teaching. Right. I said, do you think maybe you're teaching this out of a book because you never did? So I think when you read a book, like to answer your question, Grow Rich, all these books, well, you still got to go apply it. You still got to go do things. You got to be willing to fail. And the problem is once you fail once or twice, most people don't get back up and keep going.
Yeah. And let me give everybody a tip because I want people to have actionable stuff from this.
100%.
It's great. You can listen to us. You're like, oh, Lance is great. Mike's great. Okay, great. So be it. At the end of this, I want people to have something to do. So you're probably still going to read a book. You're going to listen to this. Here's what I want you to do. Listen to this. Read a book until you get what I call the awakening. You're like, that's the thing. I got to do it now. Shut off the recording. Shut the book. Go do that. As soon as you implement it, come back, turn on the recording, read the book till the next awakening. When that awakening happens, massive action. You'll condition a muscle that just goes, I learn, I grow, I execute. Learn, grow, execute. And you will move faster. That's how today, like, we have companies. I got to tell you, there's companies. My biggest year ever in service was $6.5 million in a year. We put 22 trucks on. I thought that was nuts. Today, there's people 10, 15, 20 million in a year. But then there's someone else stuck at $1 million for 25 years, Lance. And you know what they tell me? I say, how good's your service? They say, we're the best in the world. Been doing it for 90 years. I said, okay, let me tell you 2 things about me. 1, there's 2 groups of people, probably 3. 1, the people that love me. 2, the people that dislike me because they don't want to hear the truth. And 3, they're just confused at everything they're doing. You suck at service. You know why? A byproduct of delivering amazing service is business growth. You're horrible at it. Now, if you could swallow that, now I could change your life. If you can't, we're done. You have to go back and live your little pity party.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, listen. So here, let's not change the subject here. Let's go into this. Why do you think so many private equity firms are buying service-based companies? HVAC companies are getting swallowed up left and right. You see that, right? Electrical companies, right? Left and right. And plumbing also. And I think roofing's next. They haven't really knocked down the roofing market totally yet, but you're going to see it go that way. Why do you think this? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not dumb guys, are they?
No. Pest control. They're smart guys.
But I was being facetious.
Right. Anybody who's been in this game for a couple decades, this isn't the first cycle. This is probably, I graduated vocational school in 1988. This is probably the fourth or fifth cycle of this. It's all about a monopoly. And what they're hoping to do is they learned that the number one asset on the planet is a human. Number two, most people live inside a structure that something's going to break. And they know this is a perfect gateway to anything else in the world they'll ever want to offer. I mean, look, the infrastructure. I always say, like, if you got rid of the electricians, the plumbers, and HVAC guys off the world, you know what you have? It's a very dark place. It's very cold or too hot, and it smells like shit. That's exactly what happens. And I believe what they want to do is they want to create a nice global roll-up. And unfortunately, I think it's good. Look, I was acquired by private equity, a very good, very reputable company. I'm very glad I did it. I could have actually picked some of the other ones that made more money, but I wasn't willing for what they were going to do to the employees in the team and stuff. And I think the important thing for everybody to know here is you're going to exit, right, Lance? Everybody's going to exit their company. One of four ways. Mm-hmm. You're going to hand it down, right? You might go out of business. You could possibly die, right? Or you're going to sell it. I mean, there's only a couple different ways you're going to exit the company.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of what is your
There's
legacy.
There's actually five.
What's the next one?
You get forced down. You get resigned.
Yeah, if you're...
look what's going on. I mean, Bill Gates, my man, just had a big Bill went there. Amazing. The number one guy leading us through the pandemic goes down for preaching to the choir.
Yeah. Or maybe there's another one, forced wife scenario. I don't know. Maybe there's a couple more here.
But we get what you're saying. I wasn't trying to correct you. I was being funny about the Bill Gates thing.
Yeah,
that's all.
And the fact is, for these private equity companies, they see an opportunity. I hope that the service companies out there see the value they hold for themselves today. I love the industry. I love that people are purchasing them and bringing them together. What I would caution people is integrity. There's not a tremendous amount of integrity out there, and a lot of people are trying to get rolled up, Lance, into these things, and they're getting taken advantage of, and they're losing everything.
So where do you think, you've been around a long time, where do you think the biggest opportunity right now for people in the home industry is? Where's that biggest, I better start focusing on this? What would you say? And it better be Lions AI.
It's Lions AI,
yeah.
Which is amazing. You showed it to me. It's incredible out there. If you don't know what it is, just reach out to these guys and ask about it. But here's what I think it is. I call it, it's the philosophy I had. It's the source of one. And I'll give you the source of one. See, today, almost every company does more than one trade, right? They're
100%.
plumbing. When I started, there was nobody doing it. We were like the frontier people, me and my partner. Because my theory was this: there was Target, there was Walmart, there was all these companies, and I was watching them, Lance, and when people would go in a store, they never wanted you to leave. Feed you, get your clothes, get your car fixed. I believe the number one way for this is be the source of one. Do as many things that make sense for the customer. Now, years ago, they used to say riches and niches. Only do plumbing and do it the best in the world. I used to think that too, until one day I went to a job, an electrical job, and Mrs. Jones had her whole kitchen redone. I didn't do none of the electric. And I said, what, this is a beautiful kitchen. Who did the work? And she said, well, the contractor had a plumber and the plumber did electric. And I was like, wait a second. So the only loyalty you have is the loyalty to own everything they could buy. And this is what I think, I know this, is smart for business as long as you can manage it. And yes, I always say the trick question. Let's ask everybody and act like they responded. I always say this: which business do you want to go into, right? If there's three businesses, they're all doing the same revenue. One's 20% profit, one's 10, one's 5. Which one do you want?
Me?
Okay, well, let's ask them. So they're like, I want the 20% one. The answer is you want all of them. They're all profitable, and we could grow them more profitable. That's the opportunity today. Serve the customer. Amazon has taken a global share.
It's amazing what they've done.
Right.
They're going into the home service-based industries. People don't realize that. I mean, and they're starting to get into it. I mean,
everybody is.
So
Everybody is.
Here's a question for you. You had the biggest opportunity. Where's the biggest challenge that you see?
People's thinking. It's done. It's done. They're manipulated. They don't know how to think. There's every guru out there today who did next to nothing is telling people, like, okay, you grew somebody to $1 million. You cannot, if you only did 5 million, you cannot help someone get to 50 million. You don't even know the breakage, the failure. I used to see people go like this. They used to say, oh, Mike, you did 32 million. Don't be impressed on 32 million. Be impressed on 7 years, and we're probably hitting close to $1 billion in helping service companies. The 32 million was immaterial what I did.
Yeah.
Now I'm helping other people. This is the thing. The market's getting filled with a whole lot of hot air. This is very dangerous for people.
Let's talk about that, right? So I get inundated. I mean, like, I think like the ball sack on you to call me and say I can help you grow your agency when I one of the biggest agencies in the country. So I got some young 28-year-old kid or 32 or 26 saying, I'm like, what do you do? They're like, well, it's me plus my friend and another. How can you? I'm not saying there's not help from everyone. I'm not trying to be rude here, but how can you? You don't know what I go. You don't know what my payroll's like. You don't know what my health benefits are like. You don't know the challenges I have in scaling an organization.
No idea.
You what? You're gonna give me one nugget on Facebook that we might not know, or one, and you think that's gonna help me scale? Do you believe?
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. These gurus out there, and I laugh because they're filled on my feed. You know, we'll help you build $1 million agents. Okay, we'll help you this. We'll help, okay, and it's almost like instant coffee for everyone. Everyone thinks it like these people are selling it like it's overnight for $9.99. There's a guy out there, right? All of his stuff is $99 a month or a year, whatever, and he's built a nice sized company out of California. I give him a great marketing guy, very great, but you're still where are you going to go from there? How can you scale? I mean, he's not in your business helping you. Yeah. I mean, the gurus out there aren't gurus, and the good people out there that can help, like you and other people, they're not getting the exposure they deserve, and they need more of it. Because there's other people like you out there that actually know the service-based industries, that understand it.
Yep.
You know it. You're passionate about it. You want to grow. You want to help people. I mean, I feel like that's your whole thing now. You just want to help people. Is that pretty accurate?
Like, look, I love anybody who's helping anybody as long as they're doing it with integrity. Do it with integrity. Go out there, be honest, be upfront, tell the truth. I mean, look at what's going on in the world. Like, all these people thinking that sales alone will grow a company. You think figuring out a sales process is what's good? That might help bring in cash. You think that's going to manage the people, the culture, the bills, the marketing, like
customer retention?
Sales is one tiny little thing, but everybody bites on it because they just think if I get enough more money, I'll have the solution. You're in a delusional state. So you got to stop. They used to say you got to act like a business owner, right? Stop being a worker and be a business owner. And I say this. I say, okay, that's great. They tell you like that's the final. The area you got to get is you got to act like a wealth advisor. Now, I'm not talking like a financial advisor. I'm saying the point where you look at your business and say, okay, if a wealth advisor came in, an advisor, and said, look at your business, you will answer it that are watching this. What would they say? That some people say, oh, it's horrible. You're dysfunctional. Like, you don't even have paint. Like, this room is beautiful here. This is great. Anybody watching, look at it. The lion and all this stuff. But the fact is, this didn't cost $200,000 to do this.
No.
But it looks amazing. And you have these service companies running around, these people, all these people that are out there, and they don't even have put a coat of paint on something, man. Make yourself at least look presentable and go at it and tell people you're going to change the industry. If you're looking just to change your own life, you'll win. You'll win a little bit. You go to change the world, you'll win forever because your legacy will live on. That's important. People should think about that.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about digital marketing. This is a digital marketing show also. How does digital marketing impact CEO Warrior, and how has it changed through digital marketing, social media? How has it impacted your organization directly and then also your clients? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, look, I don't want to be insulting to anybody, but it's so easy to grow a company today when you're partnered with the right digital marketing people. Do you realize back in our time, in service industry, you had to hope you made enough money to put an ad in the newspaper. Can you even believe this, everybody? The newspaper. Some of you listen and you're like, yeah, the newspaper. Or Yellow Pages. And you had to be brave enough to do that. And you had to stick, like I remember sticking a business card on the corkboard at the bagel place. And you had to grind it out. You had to call friends. Today, you partner with Amazing Digital. I love when I get these people, they're like, I'm not on Facebook. And I'm like, are you on a cell phone? Like, show me your beeper. Where the hell's that? Like, I used to have one of those green phones you ever had in the house, and when you were a kid, you dragged a cord like through the rooms. Your father would yell at you, you're gonna break the cord, right? It's like, are you still on a rotary phone? Like I just feel like some people have to grow up already. Digital creates impact, direct impact. It also creates influence. It creates the ability to serve people. It creates the ability to be found. Now here's the thing, and why you've been able to grow to this ability. There's a lot of people playing Mr. Digital. They're playing it.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous, because what happens is there's all these things that people don't know. Like I don't even know who it was. Somebody just told me, oh, I was with somebody and all of a sudden my website's down. It's gone. I can't get it up. And I go, okay, how did you pick that person? Well, they were really affordable. I said, like, if you were going to get your wife a car to put your newborn baby in, do you want affordable or the most safe thing for your family? I look at business that way. Also, you're not a vendor of mine. You're a partner of mine. We're partners. We work together. We're both serving an industry.
Absolutely.
And people don't look at it as partnerships today. They're looking at it as like they're buying gas from somebody. It's not that way. Digital, it's not going away. If anything, it's going to grow bigger than anybody imagines. With AI, the art of virtual reality, this stuff's not going away, man.
No.
Like, you're either going to get aboard or you're going to be just what I call purged.
It's funny you say it, because if you call us your vendor, like not you, but same people call us vendors, we just don't think it's because it's such. We're your partners. We're the ones that's putting food on the table for your children. We're helping you get leads. We're helping you grow. We're helping you understand the data. And people don't get that in there. You said people are playing in the digital marketing space.
Yeah.
It's almost, there's no regulations. That's what people don't understand. So they go out there and they just go hire the cheap. The only times I hear my nephew does my Facebook ads, this person, I'm going to bring it in half. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to do ads manager. They don't do similar. They don't know how to do any other basic things. You can't do SEO in-house unless you're a big company. Let's be realistic. Or you hire someone that's very good. Right. So, I mean, it's so hard and people don't understand. You said something, I say it all the time. This is like buying a car. You're not coming in shop pricing my Lexus versus the next dealership's Lexus and saving $500.
No.
You might think you're saving $500 a month, but you're costing yourself $100,000 a month in sales.
Right.
And I laugh at people all the time. A local roofing company here told us about a year ago, we want you to do our stuff. We gave him a price, rolled everything out. He said, no, strung Bernie along. He comes back to me and says, I lost all my rankings. This guy built me a really bad site, charged me $10,000 for it. It's bullshit. I'm going to go with you guys, but I don't want to build a new site. I'm not paying for a new site again. Yeah. Like saying he's not going to pay for it. We just want to. I started laughing. I said, it's your business decision making that led you down this bad road. If you just would have chosen the proven company with the great reviews, the great relationships, the great product, history would have repeated itself most likely. Not that we haven't made mistakes, or we have, but most likely there's a high percentage point that we're going to hit a home run for you. Now you want me to eat your bad mistake? Have a good day, sir.
You're going to get, and everybody knows it that's listening, you're going to get what you pay for. But the whole thing about, like, anybody that comes to us, I say, come to one of our events, check it out. If you don't like it and it doesn't make sense, go anywhere else. We don't beg anybody to come in our world. We don't. Matter of fact, we interview you to see if you fit our world, right? Because if you're out there and there's all these people that are just trying to take, and look, I want good people to win. If they have the skill set, if they care, if they have integrity, I want everybody to win and change their life. If you're not with integrity, I want you to learn quick to get it, or get the hell out of the way, right? So when people come to us, I always tell them, like, look at what we do. Look at how we do it. Look where we're going. Look at how we help people. If I just change the way you think, the way you act, the way you behave, the way you looked at opportunities. You mentioned decisions. Ask any business owner. This is what we do. When we come on, we ask somebody, what is your decision-making criteria? They go, well, I'm going to talk to my wife. I'm going to see if I have money. I said, that's your business decision-making criteria? Let me teach you that first. If we're not a fit, at least now you can make good business decisions.
So it's funny you say, let me talk to my wife. And I love my wife. My wife is everything to me besides my children at this point in my life. She's stuck by me through a lot of stuff. I've never once talked to my wife about business. Not once. My wife will tell you that. Every company I bought, everything I've sold, everything I've done, I've never once talked to my wife. I've never come home and said, wife, what do you think?
Right.
What we talk about is our children, what we're doing, what's going on. There's such, I hate to call it church and state, but and it just works great for me because I believe I get that emotional part, right? So my mom said to me one day, I can't believe the money you spend. My mom's an accountant by trade, right? I can't believe the money you spend. And your accountant's your worst fucking advisor because there's a reason why most accounting firms are only 2, 3, 4, 5 people because they don't think about scale, right? Everything is about keep the numbers down, they're afraid to take chances.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that, right? Yeah. Well, your wife's going to be the same thing, most likely, right? Unless your wife is an entrepreneur by trade.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe your wife is. My wife isn't. My wife's the greatest person on earth.
Yeah.
But my wife knows when I die, and I told her this, sell everything but our real estate. Get rid of it all. Because my wife, my wife isn't going to want to be in business. Does that make sense?
Yeah. My wife's the same. She's never been in the business, but she's always been a super rock of support. Well, I mean, we're together since we're 15. We got a lot. We know a lot of what not to do in a relationship and a whole lot of what to do. And it's interesting because someone just asked me, I was on another show, and they said, how do you stay together that long? And I say, alignment. Have a conversation. Know where you guys want to go, and you may have come here wanting to hear a business thing, but you know what? Have a relationship problem, and your business will go out the window. Woo! Have a health problem, and you're done. You create alignment in your relationship. Don't matter what happens with business, man. It will feel like $1 million. You know.
I agree with that. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
There's people out there saying weather doesn't impact, seasonality doesn't impact service-based industries.
Yeah.
I disagree, right? So you know what Lions AI is all about. It's 5 years of your own data and weather from your local area, integrated with your PPC, your SEO, your GMB, gives you your average cost per lead, what you spent, phone call volumes, email volumes, gives you every piece of data. Not that you need it, but it also predicts what your budget should be for the next 15 days, right?
Yes. Yep.
Do you think weather is going to have some influence on a businessman, not just some person saying, let me figure this out, I'm going to put more posts, from a true data-driven businessman? Do you think weather and seasonality is going to impact the growth of a service-based business?
Seasons change how humans behave. It's emotionally driven. If you look at it, anywhere in the world, when it gets warmer, people spend more money. They start moving more. When it gets colder, they get contracted in, right? They contract. And you have to understand, like, we always looked at the season, and I said, okay, so let's look spring. Spring's coming. It's like, all right, we know where we're at. I always said this, where were we in business? Okay, what were our calls? What was our volume? What were people thinking at that time? What were humans thinking about, March or April? What do I want them to think? Because for all of you listening, marketing is nothing more than emotionally move people from where they are to where you think they should be, what they should think about. The second thing was knowing that the indicators in spring, okay, we have to help them understand how to be ready now, don't wait for the rush. Then we had to know, how do we capitalize on summer? And then how do we make that drag right through into fall? Information, okay, and people say this, they say to me, oh, I'm just going through growing pains and learning curves. I said, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're going through lack of fucking education. That's what you're doing. Lack of experience, lack of education. When you look at, and if I get anything across on this, if everybody looks at it, how are humans behaving during spring, winter, summer, and fall? How do you behave? I look at people in the summer. Money rains from the sky. People tell me, I'm doing good. I'm like, where are you? They're like, I took off the month. I said, okay, your competitor didn't. And they're going to outgrow you 10 to 1. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't vacation. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a life. I'm saying when right now, it's been raining cash.
For everybody.
Everybody. You
it's
could
be. We should play raining cash. You just let it go.
It should be a song for. It should just be like it's raining cash right now. But you know what? Not everybody wants to do what it takes to capture the cash, and they capture the cash, and then they're like, well, what do I do with it? Because I got some sales, I got some marketing, but like, how do I invest it? Where do I put it? Do I stay renting a building? Do I buy a building? Do I invest in more marketing? Here's what everybody should think about. Watch the trends. Double down now. Align yourself. And let me share this real quick, Lance. I won by aligning myself with the greatest vendor partners out there. That's what I did. I know I never tried to do my own SEO. I would never try to do my own pay-per-click. I tried to paint one bathroom with my wife once, and it literally almost cost a divorce. She's like, you got to go this way. I'm like, I'm going this way. We're like, I don't paint. I don't cut my grass. Like, I go to experts and I surround myself with them. I'll tell you something really cool that was happening. As I'm growing gold medal, I have my direct mail people. I got all these people. I do a meeting with them, okay? Once, twice a month. All of them with me. Because if my digital company doesn't know they don't know what's going on, they'll get lost. Before you know it, you know what they told me? They said, can we just have our own meeting without you? And I said, yeah. And they used to come to me, my partners, and say, and partners, they did not have any equity stake in the company. They would say, here's what we're all doing. We're all aligned. Alignment is key. Alignment with you, alignment with one SEO, everybody. You have to know holistically what's happening or you'll get lost. The company will get lost.
So I agree on that. You saw Lines AI, Lines reporting.
Yeah.
There's nothing else out there like that.
It's impressive.
I'm going to ask you an honest question.
Yeah.
What's your honest feedback, and is it a game changer in the space?
I haven't seen anything like it, so it's a competitive advantage, okay? You have to know the information that you're giving, and when you have the indicators, you could have people share with you what you're missing. And so if you're showing an indicator of weather versus call versus closing, and I look at that, and I may be, look, I'm not going to talk. People used to say, when I was in a room, when I was growing, they used to say KPI, and I used to look it up. I didn't know what KPI, key performance indicator. I didn't know all this fancy language, all these suit and tie people standing up there saying all this stuff. That's why you surround yourself with good people. They go, okay, look, you got this many calls. Here's your cost per lead. You only made this much money. How can I help you see to make more money? Simple. And that's what it is. And I haven't seen, hands down, nobody has showed me anything like what you guys have built there. It's amazing.
It's and I appreciate that. Here's a question for you. When you have such a product like this and a 3 or 5 day job where we haven't decided yet, we know it's 3 days now, we might extend it to 5. I'd actually like your opinion on that. Would you rather see a 3 day job?
It's 3 days.
3 days?
Hands down. I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell me why.
5 days. If you look at a company over 5 days, they could move things, and you can't manage it as efficiency. 3 days is this. I had a thing in my culture. Focus on 3 days. If there's not enough jobs on tomorrow, don't go home till there is. Find someone to serve, even if you got to stand outside ShopRite and ask, who can I help? Don't go home. If you go 5 days, all of a sudden somebody's saying I could throw something to Friday, I'll put it on Friday. Tight. You got to keep it tight in a company.
Besides hanging out with your family, when that CEO warrior Spartan hat comes off, Mike, because you're an intense guy, you're very, very, very high energy, right? You make me look docile a little bit here, right? What do you like to do?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it ever comes off. If you ask my wife, one thing anybody that's been in my world knows that how you see me here is how you see me. I'm like barbecuing, talking to my son, yelling. I love spending time with my family. I am grasping. My son's going to be 22. My daughter's 19. They're grown up. I am grasping every minute I can. Walking on the beach with my wife. I just love it. I'll tell anybody who's been waiting to make a move. We bought a house, I think, 3 years ago down the Jersey Shore. It's beautiful. The bay is 1 block. The ocean's 1 block. And we had another house, which we sold about a year and a half ago. I wish I moved there 10 years ago. And anybody listening, if you're waiting on a bold move, make a bold move. I love walking on my beach. Me and my wife have this little competition collecting sea glass. And actually, all the way driving here today, she's going, I just found another one. Are you sending me sea glass? I love spending time with my wife. And the last thing is martial arts. It's 35 years for me. I love it. I love to hit a heavy bag. I love to train with my son. My son has also been training as long as one of my students. I call him Sensei Eddie. He's been training with me 23 years. They come down. We go in the beach. Doesn't matter if it's the middle of the night. Doesn't matter if it's freezing. We go out there and we train. And that's my life right there. I love it.
That's awesome. On the final roar,
yeah,
we know a lot of people. I'm going to give you two final roars. The first one I'm ever doing because I think it's important.
Yeah.
For the person in the truck that's under $1 million,
yeah,
and they're struggling, what would be the first thing? And I truly believe this. Besides contact, I mean this from the bottom of my heart because I've seen the work you've done and help people grow their companies so much. Besides contacting you, what would you say to them? What's the first thing they got to do? What's the first thing they got to do?
First off, here's the first thing they have to think about. And I'm a little upset in the industry because there's a lot of organizations out there that if you're doing under $1 million, they don't care about you. And I think it's upsetting. You can't go to them. You can't learn from them. They won't help you. And I think that's disgusting because how will they ever get past that if no one helps them? Not to be self-serving, you got to find somebody that you trust and that you believe and that you know they have a good heart and they've been in your shoes and they want you to win. And just listen to them and be like, anybody, I tell everybody, if you're listening to this, you're struggling. If you can't even afford, and I'm not trying to sell books here, if you can't afford a book, private message me on Facebook and say, I'm dying here. I'll send you a free book. I'll send you things. Don't ever even come back to me for anything else. Nobody should suffer in this industry. So I would say find somebody really good and offer to meet with them, buy them a lunch, get together. And like I said, if you're struggling that much, reach out to me. I'll do everything I can to help a human today. That's my soul's purpose.
It's awesome. Double dipping down here. We know that sweet spot's to get above about 10 million for private equity firms to start looking at you, right? That's about the sweet spot they want to before they look. Either 10 or 20.
Well, I got to tell you, today, a company doing 5 at very high double digit can win. Now, it depends on your lifestyle. If you're 10 to 20 million, you're a thorn in someone else's space. And that's why they acquired me, because the part of the company that acquired other companies, they were trying to get into central New Jersey. And they told me, they said, they tried throwing everything at it, Lance.
So let's just say let's just give the viewers, before I ask this question, what would it be if you're doing, let's say, 5 million with 20% margin? What would you say you're going to sell for?
So if you look at that, right now I heard there's multiples anywhere from 10 to 15%. So do the math. 20% on the 5 million times, say 10.
10.5 million.
You're looking at a really good lifestyle. You're gonna, hopefully you're smart. Here's the biggest thing about that. Let me nail this real quick. There's all these people running around trying to sell you, and they're like, "Oh, give me $25,000. I'll give you an audit, and I'll give the money back." It's a trap, everybody. Don't tell anybody you're selling. You better reach out to me. I'll help you with some side insight to help you out. If you're gonna exit big, we had, I think, 7 companies in my world, 7 in the last year that have exited, that been in my world learning, and have become multi-millionaires. They'll never have to work for the next 10 generations.
Here's a question for you. Let's just say you are at that 2.5 point to 5 point. What would you say to them to grow? What would be the first thing you do? Besides calling you, which is clearly, obviously, call someone like you. You're great at what you do. What do they do? Where do they start?
Yeah.
I guess, fuck it. Let's be honest. They got to bring someone in to help them.
They got to bring someone to help them. You have to.
You have to. Yeah. Why did I even put that on there?
You're not. Look,
what was I, Casey?
Yeah.
What kind of question was that?
I've spent, and people are going to think, but I'll prove it to anybody. One thing people know about me, if you want to jump in and jump on stage, live and talk about stuff, I'll go line and I spent over $2.4 million in the last 15, 17 years on my own education. I'm not saying bragging. Please, people, don't be impressed. Where was I going to get it? There was nobody that had all the pieces. I had to pay one expert for marketing, one expert for sales, one expert for relationships, one expert for health. I had to get all of this. You need help. If it's not me, if it's not you, it's got to be somebody. Number 2, I give people 3 things: marketing, sales, leadership. You got to be able to have a message out there. You got to be able to allow people to purchase. I hate even using the word sales. It's serving. You got to let people purchase value and you got to be able to lead your life and lead your business.
You said something like people like I hate to say this, like people say, not sales. I'm a salesman. I grew up selling. I love if you're selling something that works, why are you afraid to say it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that. Like I'm not afraid to say, yeah, I'm a digital marketer. I know my shit, but I mastered my craft to become this. Yeah. I'm an expert in it. I'm allowed to sell that to you. If you don't want to buy it, that's okay. 100%. But good luck trying to find somebody that knows what I know. And that's okay. You don't want to buy. But my job is to let you see that, and you can call it education, but it's still. I don't think we put such a negative term on selling where people are like, I'm a comfort advisor, I'm this or I'm that, and that's great. But really, at the end of the day, you're a salesperson. You're trying to educate. Yeah. And because it's so powerful. Once you understand the power of truly educating people and selling them, and educate them, you're going to grow. I think your money's going to grow. I mean, but I think. Why do you think people find it so negative?
Well, because the car dealerships, these people that are out there making you feel bad if you don't buy. It's hard pressure people. I think sales is a fine word. Everybody, when you were born and your mom was saying, bring me the ball, you didn't say, sell me, I'm bringing the ball. You brought the ball and your mom or dad patted you and hugged you and you became a servant at that point. You learned how to care about people. When you care, you serve. I just think, I don't know if we'll get out of that anytime soon of what people think about the term sales or selling, because it's so generational, have this like stigma about it. I don't know. I don't like it.
Change because if you're doing the right stuff and you're good at what you do, you should be proud of what you're selling.
Yeah. I'm
never not going to be proud of one SEO. I can tell you that's not even a thought. Lions AI, Lions reporting. I'm proud of it. Nick, my buddy Nick told me today and he's like, man, if you're on this meeting, Lance, I know it's important.
Yeah.
But he knew I was showing him Lions AI. And he's like, why are we afraid to have that passion?
Yeah. I think if you're not, I always look at it this way. If you're not the best in the world, you should be trying to become the best in the world, even if it's the best in your little world. Become the best. And that goes to one word, and I hope everybody embraces this word. Write it down. Write it on your hand. It's mastery. That's what everybody's striving for. The next level of mastery.
Mike, thank you for being on the Den.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, check out CEO Warrior. They're doing great things over there. It's growing. They're helping people grow, and that's really what it's all about. Thank you so much.
Thank you for serving. You're serving so well. Don't stop.